What's going on, guys? Just standing on this vanity searching for a leak in a new house, and I cut the wall downstairs and all that good stuff, traced my line sets up, and I finally found it. Probably hear it now that I've been fiddling with it. It's got a trim nail. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. It's got a trim nail in our 5/8 line right here. And it's got about 400 PSI in it right now, because it was losing pressure but very slowly, about 200 PSI in 48 hours. So after going through all the solder joints and the equipment, only led to one remaining thing, which was the line set. And sure as shit, there she is. So I got a vanity to deal with, a light to deal with, so I'm going to cut this insulation out of here so I can pull these line sets out, and we'll take a look and see what that hole looks like, if I could just cut it and put a coupling in or maybe swage it or something. But we'll pull that out of there and get a better look at it. I'm going to blow off this pressure since there's over 400 PSI in there. I don't want to tug on it too much with that kind of pressure in there, so that's what we'll do next. Alright guys, so I got some of that insulation pulled out of there. Just started pouring down rain outside, so I have a feeling I'm going to be fighting weather trying to get this evacuated. But you can see that great big finishing nail right there. Comes through the wall probably about 1.5 inches. And if I can get you a view, it's super tight in here, but hopefully you can see that where it went through. It was damn close to actually coming out the other side. It was in there pretty damn good. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about fixing this yet. Probably going to cut some of this sheetrock out of the way, and the line set's naturally really tight because I'm right here by the nail guard and everything up here where it turns into the attic. So I'm going to see if I can get some distance between the liquid line and maybe be able to cut that, slide a coupling in there, and I may have to use the Viper cooling gel and sort of douse everything down in here and see if I can get that brazed up. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, try to get better access to it, and we'll see how we're going to repair it. I was able to get a little bit of play on that 5/8 pipe in order to swage it. So I only got one solder joint to deal with. Sure wish I had the zoom lock on the truck today, because this would absolutely be zoom locked. But I'm going to go ahead and use our Viper heat blocking gel. It's going to be really hard to video, so I'm kind of just going to show you before and after. But I'm going to spray it on the exterior wall, get a good layer there, get some on this Armaflex over here, and that should really be it. I'm hoping that I'll just be able to angle my torch from this side and be able to heat that small solder joint up in order to, instead of having to chase the torch around it, I should be able to get it to flow just fine like that. So that is the game plan. So wish me luck, and you'll see in a second the results. Alright guys, we were able to get her soldered up. I'm getting ready to go pressurize this thing. I'm going to put about 400 or 500 PSI in here, just to make sure that was our only nail hole, and to make sure that this solder joint is going to hold, considering it's in a wall, and I don't want to deal with it again. So I'm going to pump her up pretty high on the pressure. I usually pressure test at least 300, between 3 and 4, so I'll probably go about between 4 and 5 on this one just to make sure. But you can see, darkened the material out here. Not too bad, but the only issue I was having with the Viper heat blocking gel is it's so warm in here. It's about 92, 93 degrees in here. The thickness or the viscosity was very thin today. So as I would apply it, it would basically just run down the wall, and I would only get a thin layer. So that limited the amount of time that I was used to being able to have with the material before it started burning. But I could have easily just stopped and applied more, and I wouldn't have had this this charring back here, which is just barely on the surface. It didn't damage the integrity of the material or anything, but it's up here. I'm standing on a vanity. It's kind of a pain in the butt standing on the edge, so I just figured once it wore off, I was just gonna get it knocked out. So that's what I did. But I'm gonna go ahead and pressurize this thing, make sure we don't have any leaks, and we will go ahead, evacuate, and charge this bad boy back up. All right, guys, got her pressurized at just over 400. I think I'm about 415, 420-ish, somewhere around there. Threw some Big Blue on there just to make sure we don't see any bubbles, which everything's looking good so far. But I'm gonna leave it under pressure test for about a half an hour just to make sure that there's no more of these wonderful finishing nails stuck in my line set before I tell the builder he can go ahead and patch things up. So I made a pretty good mess with his walls, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So got to find my leak and fix it. So that's what we did. But now should be the relatively easy part. As long as it holds, we'll just evacuate and change the filter dryer in the attic and recharge. So far so good. Well, we've had her on a vacuum now for under 15 minutes, maybe about 10 or 12 minutes, something like that. Oh, 12 minutes, there you go. And we're down to 855 and still dropping. Like I said, this is a straight AC, so it doesn't have, and it's just a builder's grade unit, so it doesn't have any loss of charge pressure switch or anything like that in there. So when I came out here on Friday, this thing was running in a vacuum. POE oil, it's very likely, well, it's pretty much a guarantee that it's gotten some moisture in it. So I expected this vacuum to take a little while, but it's pulling down pretty nicely. So go in there and button up some things. I gotta re-armaflex these lines. I had to cut all that off, just chasing any sort of solder joints and things like that, just trying to locate where this leak was. I guess while I got you down here, I'll show you. So I started here and ripped up this wall and looked up here, which is an attic space, saw my line set went over, came into right here somewhere in this general area, and then turned up, which is the exterior wall above this property. Not sure if you'll be able to, I guess you'll be able to tell. So we're inside of this wall, come up 90, turned, and then turned and went up that wall. And this bathroom is actually right where this door is. For some reason the back door is in the master bathroom. Not really sure why, but that's what we're working on now. So just letting this thing ride. I'm gonna go button up some stuff. You can see we're slowly pulling down. Might have to triple evacuate or break it once or twice with nitrogen, but yeah, so far so good. So I'm gonna go insulate these, re-insulate these lines in the attic. I tore all the Armaflex off chasing leaks, so I'm gonna go do that, and we'll check back on this vacuum here in a few minutes. Cleaned up all my mess in here. Put the insulation back in there, and I just marked it just so you could see, so the builder can see where the leak was. But got the insulation all back in there. Everything's good to go. All right, guys, we're all finished out here. Everything's up and running, looking good. I'll include the screenshot of the pressures and all that good stuff for you. But no issues. Everything worked out good. Had one of my buddies come out here and help me with the Armaflex. I was just waiting for this to drain before I got up out of here, and we are draining. So I just need to pack up my mess, the remaining mess, and get up out of here. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, comment below if you want to see more. Again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.